Happy October, everyone. Trick or treat. Sorry about that there, you guys. Got a little carried away. But anyways, happy October, everyone. What is up, everybody? The Real Training Productions 2025 back again, here for a brand new and very, very special unboxing video. In my last video, I showed a video of, well, I had two videos I shared with you guys. One was a Universal Studios video of me hanging with Optimus Prime, which a lot of you guys really, really enjoyed. And two was one of my dogs, Cubby and Rhino, messing around, or playing in other words. And a lot of you guys really, really seemed to enjoy those videos. Today is a very special one, because after hunting down almost every single 80th anniversary Thomas item, we're going to be wrapping up the 80th anniversary Thomas unboxings in this video today. Because in today's video, we're going to be unboxing and taking a first look at the 80th anniversary Trackmaster Classic Talking Interactive Thomas. We'll also be comparing this Thomas to the one from the Amazon exclusive pack, since both Thomases do look very similar with one another. And we're going to be comparing the Annie and Clarabel, and we're going to see if this Thomas interacts well with my beloved interactive Thomas from the Talking Interactive Thomas and Percy set from 2020 through 2022. Now, before we begin, I do have a few very important announcements to make. One, this upcoming Sunday, I will be re-uploading a fan favorite archival Thomas episode from my older Thomas series. That being Lost at the Scrapyard. An episode that, I will admit, does not have the best writing, but was a fan favorite regardless. So you guys will be seeing it this upcoming Sunday. Plus, I do have a very special Disneyland video coming up the following Tuesday. So be on the lookout for that. Now, I know what you guys might be wondering. Oh, but Train King, but Gilbert, why are you ending your 80th anniversary Thomas unboxings? I still really want you to get Duck and the other engines. Well, here's the thing. This journey of collecting all these 80th anniversary Thomas toys has been quite a long one. Me and my dad have been hunting these down since they were first announced. Well, not first, when they were first announced, but when they started coming out in stores. And it's been a long, long journey, especially trying to hunt down that Storybook Thomas. And some models are just very out of reach for me to try and get. Don't worry, I'm still going to be collecting some more 80th anniversary Thomas stuff. Don't worry, you guys. I'm especially going to try and get that Storybook Playrail Thomas because of how cool it looks. But yeah, this is the conclusion. Plus, I do also have other videos in the pipeline coming out, such as Lionel Train videos and stuff like that. Plus, I also have a lot of Christmas content you guys are really, really going to enjoy. But I'm not going to be revealing anything about the Christmas schedule yet, because we're a little too early. But yes, now, with those announcements out of the way, this Thomas, I'm not denying when I say this, took me and my dad a very long time to find. Mainly because I believe this Thomas was produced in very limited quantities, hence why it was so hard to track down. Not to mention, too, that the real reason why I also bought this pack was because of the Annie and Clarabel. But in this video, just like with the other 80th Thomas toys, we're going to be taking a look at the packaging, we're going to be taking a look at the Thomas, Annie and Clarabel individually, plus the pros and cons of this model, and the things I do wish were changed. But yeah, Plus, we'll also be comparing this Thomas to the standard one. Now, with all those announcements out of the way, let's get into what you guys have all been waiting for. Unboxing and taking a first look at the classic talking interactive Thomas. But first, a brief history on this Thomas. During Christmas of 2024, last year, all the new 80th anniversary Thomas toys were first announced. First, of course, being the standard Thomas. Same thing with the other engines. Gordon, Duck, James, as well as the talking Thomas. When I first found out about this Thomas, not gonna lie, I was very excited because it has been quite a long time since we've had a CGI talking interactive model. The last time being, I believe, in 2022 when we got the interactive James, Gordon, Diesel, and Thomas as part of that 4-engine interactive lineup. If you guys see my other videos where I compare these models to the older ones, you guys know what I mean. But yes. And also too, once this pack was first announced, I was really excited about the Annie and Clarabel. Because if I got the classic Thomas, which I have, my Thomas will finally have an Annie and Clarabel to pull if I run the model during Christmas, maybe during like the normal year. You guys know what I mean. But yeah, with the brief history aside, I will be mentioning this. What made this model so hard to find was that this Thomas was actually produced in limited quantities. Yes, that's what makes this Thomas so hard to track down. It's kind of like the Mario 25th anniversary DSi XL. That's a very special edition model. Special edition Nintendo DS. It's the same thing with this Thomas. That's what makes this Thomas so hard to find. But yeah, now, with all that said, let's take a look at the packaging. Now, the packaging itself is really nothing special. It's just the standard classic, the standard talking packaging we've seen with the interactive All Engines Go engines, like Percy, Diesel, Gordon, and James. But for the 80th anniversary, Mattel made some adjustments to the pack. That includes the blue swoosh look that we see on a lot of the other Thomas items, like, for example, give me one moment, you guys, like the Metal Collection engines, how they have that really neat blue swoosh look, and a Nitrogen era image of one of the characters, for example, Thomas. The new interactive Thomas has the same thing. Has a blue swoosh look to match the CGI era. You have that beautiful Thomas and Friends logo on the left side of the box, along with a Fisher-Price logo, which is a very, very nice touch. Engines recognize each other. I think this is a very nice nod to the older interactive engines, because on the other characters from the older interactive line, mainly from 2020 to 2022, it also had a nod like this, where you'd have James, Gordon, or Diesel, where it'd say on the box, engines recognize each other. Which I think is a very, very nice touch. You also have the Try Me, which I have been fiddling around with this Thomas for quite a little bit. I think the voice of John Hassler is a really nice nod, which is a really, really nice touch with this Thomas. But we'll talk about the voice on this model later. You also have a Nitrogen era image of Thomas on the right side, along with a motorized. I don't understand why Mattel keeps rebranding the Trackmaster line from Trackmaster to motorized, but I'm still going to keep calling it Trackmaster. You also have Talking Classic Thomas at the very bottom, along with one of his lines, that being full steam ahead, plus 3+. If we look at the back of the box, it says on the back here, so much to say, along with Mattel on this side. Plus you also have a clear image of the Thomas model on a track layout next to an all engines go James, having them talk to one another, which is a very, very nice touch. And yes, this Thomas is not actually voiced by Joseph May, it's actually voiced by John Hassler, who actually voiced Thomas in the UK dub from seasons 19 through 24. Here's what I mean by this.
Hi, friends!
I feel that's a really, really nice touch. But yeah, overall though, the package itself is very nice. I do really wish though, it had a collect them all on the back. Like, oh, collect them all. Collect the classic Percy. Collect the classic Gordon. You know what I mean. But overall though, the packaging itself is really nice. And you get a clear look of the model on the outside of the packaging. Now, let's actually open this model up. Now, just like with the other models we've taken a look at, like the Metal Collection, Annie and Clarabel from the Sort of Adventure Pack, as well as the classic Percy, Scotsman, etc., I'm going to be very careful opening this model up. That way the model does not get damaged. Oh boy. Oh, there we go. Now I'm going to be very careful taking out the models one by one. Sorry about that, guys. This is just taking me a second here. Ah, there we go. First things first is our boy. Is our boy Thomas. Next, Annie. And last, but certainly not least, Clarabel. Since we took out all the models carefully, I have one thing to remove off of Thomas before we take a look at them in more detail. There we go. Now with all the models out of the box, let's take a look at the model you guys have all been waiting to see from this pack, Thomas. Now holding this model in my hand, this is a very, very nice model of Thomas. Sure, the cab is a little slightly longer, mainly for the interactive button. But the model itself is very, very nice. He has a lot more details compared to the other Thomas, who we'll be taking a look at in a moment. You can see he has more bolts on the side, which is a nod to seasons 23 and 24. He also has handrail detailing. His face is incredible. I love the cheeky expression they gave him. And also, he's a lot bigger than the standard Thomas. But overall though, the details themselves are very, very nice. The pinstriping, the number 1, and the face. Now, just like with most Thomas toys from the 80th anniversary line, there can't be a positive without a negative. My big criticism with this Thomas is he doesn't have front painted buffers. With the classic Thomas, he had painted buffers, mainly in the front. But this Thomas doesn't have it on the front nor the back. Like, seriously, Mattel, you could have added a little bit more detail with this Thomas. That's all I'm saying. But yes, with that one criticism aside though, this is a very, very nice model of Thomas. The wheels, of course, are very nicely detailed. I love all the other details, like the bolts, the blue, plus of course the face. And it is voiced by John Hassler. Let's see what he has to say.
Sizzling fireboxes! Well, bust my buffers!
And from what you guys overheard in the background, this Thomas does indeed interact with the older engines. I think that is a very, very nice touch. Now with Thomas aside, I'm going to give Thomas definitely a 9 out of 10 with all the details and stuff. Plus, I'm going to give him a 4.8 out of 5 stars, mainly for the details. I just wish that Mattel did give him more details, like the front buffers and the back buffers. Plus, overall though, this is a very, very nice Thomas indeed. Now, onto the main stars of this pack. Annie and Clarabel. Annie and Clarabel are, without a doubt, the most coolest looking coaches, I should say, out of all the 80th anniversary Thomas motorized lineup. They're very nicely done, mainly their sides. I really like their faces, which are a nod to how they are in the CGI era. Their side details are also very nicely done. Plus, just like with the Lionel, Annie, and Clarabel, you can actually open up the roofs to see the interiors. I think that's a really nice touch on Mattel's part because it adds playability to these coaches. Like, if you were to give this Annie and Clarabel to like your nephew, your son, your younger son, you can actually add them, like add Lego minifigures as passengers or their favorite toys as passengers. That's a very, very nice touch. Plus, with these Annie and Clarabel, you can actually have them with the standard Thomas. I think that's a really, really nice touch indeed. Now, Annie and Clarabel, without a doubt, are the best parts of this pack in my opinion, besides the Thomas. I love the details. I really, really love the amount of care that got put into these coaches. Now, there can't be a positive without a negative without these coaches either. My big criticism with Annie and Clarabel is their sides. Their right sides. Because mainly right here where their windows are. You just have this big gray chunk here. But the reason why they actually did this is for the open and closing roofs. Overall though, very, very nice. I really, really love these new Annie and Clarabel, besides the metal collection ones. Now, on to the moment you guys have been waiting for. Comparing this Thomas to the standard Thomas. And straight away, the differences are very noticeable. Both Thomases have the seasons 23 and 24 look, mainly with their bolts on the sides, as well as handrails. Their faces are also nearly identical. The interactive Thomas is more looking up, and the one from the Amazon pack is looking more to the right. Plus, this Thomas has a slightly bigger cab than the standard Thomas. You guys see what I mean? Overall though, both these Thomases are great in their own way. If you want to have a standard Thomas without interactive noises running around your layout, this Thomas is the best one for that. But if you want a Thomas that interacts with the other engines, this is the Thomas for that. Now, time to compare the Annie and Clarabel from this pack to the classic 2020 to 2022 Annie and Clarabel. One moment, you guys. Give me a second here. So, straight away, their differences are very noticeable. The new Annie and Clarabel is slightly bigger, mainly to match with the new Thomas, whereas the older ones are slightly smaller and are more TV series accurate, mainly to match with the Trackmaster 2.0 Thomas. Their faces are also nearly identical, but both capture the characters perfectly. Between these two Annie and Clarabels, which one do you guys like the most? The older ones or the newer ones? Tell me in the comment section below. Me personally, I like them both equally. Now, time to compare one more Thomas model with the new one. That being the newer Thomas to the older Thomas. And straight away, the differences are very noticeable. This Thomas has a more cheekier expression, whereas the older Thomas has the standard Trackmaster 2.0 face. They have very similar details. This Thomas, of course, is also based on seasons 23 and 24. Same thing with the new Thomas. Except this Thomas is more bigger, mainly due to the... Well, this Thomas is bigger mainly so it can run on tighter radius curves on Trackmaster 3.0 layouts. This Thomas is mainly from a set, the Percy and Thomas interactive set. Plus, this Thomas is voiced by Joseph May. This one is voiced by John Hassler. And both do interact, which we'll show that in just a second. But yeah, they do share one criticism though in common, that being unpainted buffers in the front. But both models do interact.
No time for delay. Hi, friends. I'm dropping off some cargo.
But yes, this one's voiced by Joseph May, and this Thomas is of course voiced by John Hassler.
Goodbye, friends. Whoa!
Now for concluding thoughts. What do I think about this new talking interactive Thomas alongside with the Annie and Clarabel? Overall, this is a very, very nice pack. Sure, it did take me and my dad a very long time to find it, mainly because of how hard to find this Thomas is, but I'm very, very happy to finally have it. And it's a very, very good model of Thomas in this 80th anniversary lineup. I love all the details. Sure, it does have some criticisms. I'm looking at you, unpainted buffers. But it's an overall really good pack. Plus, you get an exclusive Annie and Clarabel in this pack. I'm going to give this pack a 8 out of 10 stars, plus an 8 out of 10 with a 4.8 out of 5 stars. It's not a perfect Thomas, but it's still a very good Thomas indeed. And if you do manage to find this Thomas, I highly recommend picking it up because it's that great of a model. Well, anyways, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this unboxing and first look at the brand new 80th anniversary Trackmaster 3.0 and talking interactive Thomas. I really hope you guys enjoyed this journey of me hunting down and unboxing and reviewing for you guys most of the 80th anniversary Trackmaster engines, as well as the Metal Collection engines. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more Thomas the Tank Engine videos just like this, as well as I hope you guys have a great evening, afternoon, or day. Bye-bye!